All right, guys, I have here with me a brother in Christ, Fritz Springmeier. In Prague, we are in Prague. It's October 10th, 2016. He was here for the Peace Award yesterday and gave awesome talk on Illuminati. You may or may not know that he's a researcher on Illuminati, an expert. He has published many books on the subject. And why I have particular interest in this Fritz is that we have something in common. And I used to be in a cult of Watchtower, and Fritz has done a significant research into the origins of Watchtower. And this is why I am sitting here with him today, and I hope to bring you a very good information. If you are a Jehovah's Witness or an ex-Jehovah's Witness, and you are wondering whether you made a good decision of leaving the cult, so I think you're going to be very blessed. Well, hi Fritz, and good morning.
Dobrý den.
Dobrý den. Welcome in Prague. And so tell me briefly, what is your experience with Jehovah's Witnesses? How did you even come to a decision to make research about Watchtower, to do research about it?
Some people very close to me joined the Jehovah's Witnesses, and then my wife joined the Jehovah's Witnesses. And so as a Christian, wanting to keep peace in the family, I started attending the Kingdom Hall and, began taking book studies. And so I got to learn how the Kingdom Hall works inside out. Now, I never joined, I was never baptized, but I certainly got to know it as well as someone who was baptized. And then because I did not want to join the Jehovah's Witnesses, they split our marriage up. And I was shocked because I didn't think that they believed in divorce, but silly me, I guess they do. And then after that, I ended up because a friend told me I should check into it. I ended up checking into Witness Incorporated, which was a Christian missionary organization.
Okay.
And so I became a missionary to bring Jehovah's Witnesses to Christ.
Wow.
And we had 2 comprehensive libraries. Dwayne Mignani, who was the head of our organization, he was a 4th generation Jehovah's Witness that left. He had been a Bethel worker. And then John was underneath him. Both of them had total comprehensive libraries. And so I ended up doing comprehensive research. I mean, there wasn't anything that the Watchtower Society hasn't put out. And then on top of that, I started doing massive amounts of genealogy research onto the founder and other research. And I just kept researching, and then people came into my life that had a lot of very interesting things to say, none the least.
Yes, and that's where I'm aiming to, because his information is just shocking to me, even after being out so long. I mean long, I'm out for about, well, I don't know how many years exactly right now. I would have to have coffee for that. But it was shocking to hear what you had to say about that. So basically, when you divorced with your wife, right?
No,
she divorced
me.
You. So
right.
you were...
I actually, when she filed for divorce, filed for bigamy, because at the time she asked me to marry her, she was actually married. But the judge tossed out my motion for annulment on the grounds of bigamy, and went with the motion for divorce. And I asked my attorney, why didn't they give me an annulment? And he said, because then they couldn't have assigned you all the bills because you're the one with all the money.
So basically she divorced you because you wouldn't want to share her faith or become baptized Jehovah's Witness. That's what caused problems in your marriage.
Well, I think she divorced me really because she knew that the system would give her child support and alimony, and then she could live her life however she wanted. But she was helped by the
Elders.
Kingdom Hall,
Right.
greatly helped.
Wow.
They had a ministerial servant that was handsome, that was well-spoken, come in. He didn't even know her, and yet he was a character witness for her in court, you know. It was just help like that, all kinds of help.
Wow.
Even worse than that.
So then you went into research on the founder, Charles Taze Russell. So tell us what you found.
Oh, wow. Absolutely amazing. Long story short, but this ties in with a lot of other research in other areas like the Illuminati. But long story short, I discovered Charles Taze Russell was a Freemason. He was of one of these elite Illuminati bloodlines. His wife was a socialist, and his father-in-law was a Freemason. And Charles Taze Russell was the first Zionist that there was, a public Zionist preacher. He went around the world preaching Zionism. He was also, I discovered, very good friend of the Rothschilds, who funded him.
Wow.
And then I discovered that there was a letter, I'm kind of saying this wrong, but in the 1920s, and I have the German article on this court trial, there was a man that was saying that the Jehovah's Witnesses were being funded by the elite through the Masonic Lodge, then the Kingdom Halls sued him. The Watchtower Society sued this man, and he came into court and showed a letter proving that they were being funded by the elite through the Masonic halls. And as I investigated Charles Taze Russell's finances, I was shocked. It's obviously he was getting heavy-duty financing. I wrote in one chapter, he had a blank check he could write for however much he wanted, because the amount that he was spending, incredible millions of dollars to get this new religion off the... Wow. He had some heavy-duty elite backing.
So it's a Rothschild American-made religion in 1900s, right?
Yeah.
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 Yet they're describing it, as a continuation of apostles, in Watchtower. I mean, that's how they describe themselves.
Yeah, well...
But they just need to get familiar. I mean, Illuminati beginnings, funding by Rothschilds, and that's incredible. Now, although right now, as you know, they're not Zionists. They're actually just the opposite.
Right.
They're very much anti-Zionists.
Right.
But they have adopted this view that they are the Israel.
Right.
All the fulfillment of Bible belongs to them, and they are the people.
Right.
So that's their current view. Sure. And as we know, their doctrines flip-flop a lot. I mean, we don't know what the view will be next year. And
a lot more than one realizes. The Watchtower Society put out an article that our doctrinal changes are like a ship tacking into the wind. Mm-hmm. You have to zigzag to get where you're going.
Right.
But the thing of it is when I went in and I had the original documents. I had every Watchtower in front of me from day one. And I had all of their old books. In fact, I have some personally I own some of the old books that are pretty rare. And you go in and you find out on major fundamental doctrines, they flip-flop from here to there and back again. It's not attacking into the wind. You realize this could not be God's organization to be so confused. But the history has been covered up. In fact, they even the Watchtower Society sent out their people to buy up the old literature and destroy it.
Oh, I'm very aware. I mean, they had this book, Revelation. There was a red book, and now it's prohibited. I mean, it's owned by many JWs. I have a copy of it.
Oh, wow.
But it's prohibited to use for them. Oh, wow. I am using it as far as to show their faults. But this is where, when they, they flip-flop with the generation doctrine, the 1914 generation. They go back and forth, and they just kind of flip-flop. But that's just common with them. But now, you believe that, they have the same similar settings as I came out and I was studying Catholic Church in depth, and I studied hierarchy of Catholic Church.
Right.
I have found out just by my own observation,
right,
that Jehovah's Witnesses are similarly organized, just like Catholic, yes, different name, yes, but the same hierarchy.
Right.
So they have these elites on the top, right, and then they have these people who take care of the organizational matters so that it functions the way the elites want, like the traveling overseers and elders. And then you have that bottom, which are men who are not elders, women and children, like totally the slaves of the system. The laity. Now the laity gets different messages, and these messages are usually, oh, Jehovah loves us, he will bring the new world, and it's all for God, and it's all this beautiful paradise, and we will have houses and build houses, and we'll live forever in that body. Right. We'll live forever. Okay, so they don't know what's going on. And you said that on the top, in an elite little circle, they actually worship Satan, right?
Right.
And you had some experience with people who've been in Bethel, and they told you that. So what was that about?
Okay. Well, it was a step-by-step process to have my eyes opened. First, there were a series of things that made me realize that this organization was very evil at the top, but my breakthrough came in understanding the Illuminati first, and understanding some of their magic, and I had trying to understand the occult world, and one of their types of magic is Enochian magic. And so as I was going back with some understanding of the occult, not that I'm interested in the occult, but I was trying to understand these people, I started looking at Charles Taze Russell's writings, and I was seeing glimpses of Enochian magic kind of poking through.
Like pyramids and the disc and
well,
wings.
No. The power of Enochian magic is the watchtowers. And no, it was other little things that he was saying, not the obvious occult stuff. I mean, he was buried under a pyramid with a Masonic logo on the side, and he was buried in a toga, a Roman toga, and they put barbed wire rebar in the base of the pyramid so that nobody could get to his body because they wanted to protect it for the afterlife. And they used pink granite stone for the pyramid from a magic mountain in Texas. So he was ritually sacrificed on Halloween Day, and so there's a lot more to his death than people
Do you
realize.
have a book anywhere? Did you write about these things?
Yes. My first book in 1990 was The Watchtower and the Masons.
Okay.
Which has actually helped. I've gotten feedback from maybe a couple dozen people that were Jehovah's Witnesses that quit because of that book.
Wow.
So over the years, it's done some positive things when people saw all this occult symbology. I mean, you have to understand. First, you have to understand magic and the occult and Freemasonry to really understand the significance of this. The winged sun disk. The winged sun disk is magic from Babylon and Egypt. Okay, and the Watchtower Society says that they are so against Christianity because they're connected to the cult.
Yeah.
And then they have all this occult stuff.
Right.
And not only that, but their art department is slipping in all kinds of hidden satanic symbols in the artwork. So you have these kind of clues that there's something going on there that's occultic, right?
Right,
and that's
subliminal messages.
Yeah. The mystery religions are connected to what these guys were doing. And in fact, there's even a verse in the New World Translation. I can't remember the address of it. Maybe it's like in one of the prophets, where for no reason they translated a Grand Master. Mm-hmm. It's just like, what?
Wow.
That it doesn't even, it's obviously there's several other verses in there too that if you're an occultist and you read that compared to what should have been translated, you go, whoa, they're slipping in a little, hey, I'm a Mason,
mm-hmm. Right. But anyway, back to this, you said that you had women or somebody who was in Bethel and they went to worship Satan,
right.
And they told you that.
Right, and I know I was being long-winded in getting to your answer, but
okay.
The reason why I was laying some foundation is people have to understand that I was working with victims of the Illuminati, people that had left the occult world, that left the Illuminati. They were coming to me because I was helping them. That's why I got these people come to me. And so they were telling me how they had been subjected to certain things while they were Jehovah's Witnesses, and how, for instance, this one lady told me that she was a Bethel worker there in New York, and she was part of a satanic coven of Bethel. And she told me, I think it was like, if I'm just remembering this off the top of my head, it's in my Bloodlines of the Illuminati book, but I think it was Andros Island in the Bahamas. She described it. She described the rituals, the satanic rituals that their Bethel group did. And but see, something like this would not have made any sense unless I had put all these other pieces together. Right. And then one person confirmed to me that yes, they do Enochian magic, which it made sense from all the other clues. I had already concluded from looking at Charles Taze Russell's writings that the reason he chose the word watchtower is because the power of Enochian magic is the watchtowers.
Wow.
I'd already concluded that, but I didn't have any insider to confirm it. So then on their own, this insider confirmed it. Then it was like, oh, wow. Similar to, I made a lot of research into Charles Taze Russell that made me think this guy is from an Illuminati bloodline, but it wasn't until I was helping these 4 women that had been in the Illuminati that were trying to get out. And the first time I met with them, I told them, I know that there are 13 significant bloodlines of the Illuminati. Here's a list of powerful families. Will you circle the 13? And they circled the Russell family. And I wanted to start crying. I may have even cried. I don't remember. It was so many years ago. I might have even started crying. Because it was just like the fulfillment. It's like if you've been practicing for the Olympics and then you win a medal. I had done so much genealogy research. Like on Charles Taze Russell, he came from Ireland, and just to give you an idea of the research I did, and this was back when you could do this, I went to the Mormons because they have the best genealogy material. So I was surprised the little town that he came from, there weren't telephones back there, right? So you would have thought, well, there's no telephone directories. No, but there was a directory of the town that is exactly like our white pages are today, except they didn't have telephone numbers. There were things like that, and then like I say, I went into their finances, the land that they bought, who they were friends of, and there's like all these interconnections, and it gets much bigger than just who Charles Taze Russell is. There's more connections involved. But anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,